Alright guys, welcome. I'm going to show you guys how to use Adobe Premiere to edit your videos for PACT. Now I know that a lot of you guys might have iMovie or Windows Movie Maker, and these are two options that you can use as well. There's plenty of tutorials out there for it. I just find that Adobe Premiere is a really simple thing to use. You can start and finish in not much time at all. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you guys how to go ahead and use it once you've downloaded it. The place where you'll go to download it to get a free trial is www.adobe.com/Premiere Pro. Now once here, you're going to have the option of getting the free trial, and then with that you'll go through the steps. You'll have to create an Adobe ID, which is just basically giving an email and setting up an account with them. They won't spam you or anything like that. You just want to make sure that you have a way to download the trial. Now once you have the trial, you're going to go ahead and install it, and then you'll have the program on your computer. Now this works with either your Mac or your PC, so you can do it either way there. So what we're doing for this particular video is going in and opening Adobe Premiere. Now I have the full version that you would get if you had bought Adobe Premiere, but I want to just show you guys everything that I do in this video can be done on the trial version. So I just want to make sure you guys understood that. We're going to open up a new project. Right here it's just basically the settings. We don't even have to worry about that. We'll just set this first thing, then we'll name it PACT. So it's going to give you some more options. We're just going to hit OK. We're not going to worry about that. It's a bunch of different settings that we could mess with if we wanted to get really in depth. But for now, we're just going to focus on the gist of it. Now, this is your seemingly complicated front screen. You really only have to worry about a couple boxes. This one at the bottom is going to be giving you guys all of the clips that you're going to be using. So your full video, that is like an hour and something long, or however long your class is, will be shown here. This over here is our sequencing area. So this is where we'll see the entire video that we're working with once we put it in there. And then up on the top right here, we have a little viewer area that we can see the video when we're editing it. So we're going to start by importing the files to the actual software. So if you right click, you can say import. You can do this in a couple other ways as well. Like if you wanted to pull it up in a viewfinder, then you could do that too. Like for example, if you were to go through Finder on a Mac to put in the clips, you could just drag and drop them in. Or if you were to open up like an Explorer window on Windows, you would be able to do the same thing. But for this case, if we just do import, you can go to wherever the files are. So let's say that you rented out an iPad and you've taken those files from the iPad and put them onto your computer, then you're going to look for wherever you put them on the computer. If you've just connected the iPad to your computer, you should be able to get the videos off there by importing them to like iPhoto if you're a Mac, or by copying and paste them from the actual hard drive of the iPad if you're on a PC. But once you have the videos that you can actually see on your computer, you're going to click on them and you're going to import them. So I'm going to import both of these here. And so I have both of these two files that are different days in which I taped my class. Now if I take this, click and drag it over here, it's going to ask me, hey, this doesn't match the sequences settings. Now this is what we were talking about before when we just went by and didn't worry about them. So what we're going to do is say, hey, change the sequence settings for us. We wouldn't mind if you fix that for us. And Adobe Premiere is nice enough to go ahead with it. Now what we're going to do from this point is find the 10-minute clip that you want. There's a lot of introductory stuff here where my students aren't really doing anything. But let's just say that we wanted like a clip somewhere in the middle. You've seen me here moving these bars. This right here shows how zoomed in it is. So right here, the time moves relatively slowly, they're just walking. But if I take this and I make it really big, that's going to zoom out this whole clip. So now if I were to click and drag the timer, it shows it in fast motion. So if you want to deal with like a short clip, then you're going to want to zoom in. So let's just say that this was our starting point. So I can zoom in and I can find out the exact area that I want it to. So let's say that it was right here. Now on this left, we have a bunch of different tools. The only one that we're really going to be worried about today is the razor tool. The razor tool is what cuts up the clip to make it a little bit more manageable. So let's take this tool and let's move it over to the red line and let's click. Now what you can see here is that 2 different clips have now been created. It just takes the first clip and cuts it in 2. Now what I'm going to do next is go back to our pointer tool, the selection tool. You can also hit V on your keyboard if you want the shortcut. I'm going to click on what came before it and I'm going to hit delete. This doesn't delete the video in entirety. You're not deleting it from your hard drive, you're just deleting it from the sequence so that what we're working with starts at your current marker. Now what I'm doing here is zooming out, and I'm just going to click and drag, pulling it back to the start. You can see on the left there that it just clipped to the beginning. So our starting point is right at the start of the video. Now if we look here on the top, our timeline shows how many minutes it goes by. So given that our PACT video should only be about 10 minutes, I'm going to move to the 10-minute mark, and I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to make sure that this is our end. So if you want to get really precise, then you can just zoom in all the way, and now frame by frame, you are able to see what is happening. So I'm very slowly moving in the background there. Now if I move it over to the 10 frame marker, I can move this over here to make sure that I get exactly my 10 minutes. Go back to our razor tool, cut that. Now go back to our selection tool, click everything that comes after it. If you want to zoom out to get a little bit over, you can, and I'll delete that. Whoop. Let's try that one more time. So I can click here and delete that. Now I have a precisely 10-minute clip that ends pretty abruptly, I'm guessing, but that's basically going to be an entire 10 minutes of my teaching instruction. Now, ideally you'll want to find the areas that you've, most taught what your subject matter is looking for. So once you've done that, you might have a different stopping point. Let's say that you wanted to stop it exactly at the end of a sentence. You can just find the frame where you stop it and then cut it there. It doesn't have to be the exact 10 minutes. PACT is just nothing more than 10 minutes. So try to make it a good cohesive stopping point. Okay, so next up what we're going to be doing, guys, is exporting the video. Right now, if we were to want to watch this in its 10-minute form, we would have to open up Adobe Premiere and just hit play and watch it in 10 minutes here. We don't have the option right now, we don't have a product to send to PACT in its 10-minute form. To do this, to get an actual video that is only 10 minutes long, we're going to take what we've just cut and we're going to do what's called exporting it. To do that, we're going to go to File, Export, Media. Now you can see right here that we've got some black bars on the preview of our final video. That's not really what we want because it's not the same as we have over here. So we're going to go up to the top and we're going to say Match Sequence Settings. So once we do that, everything that we had in our sequence is going to be mirrored in our exporting. Now with our output name right here, you'll want to change that to being whatever you want it to be. So I've created a folder to save this to called sample lesson, and there's another testing one that I had done, but rather than call it sequence 1, which is kind of tough, let's call it our first clip, so that way we know that when we're referring to it in our PACT analysis we can say in our first clip this and this happened. So we'll say that as first clip. Now it goes back to the audio box. Just because we've set that as first clip, though, does not mean that we've saved the video. What we have to do in order to do that is hit the export button down here. Now, once we have done that, it's going to pop up with this thing that says encoding sequence 01. Now, it's going to take probably a good amount of time, depending on how solid your computer is, so make sure that you're patient with it. I luckily have a relatively decent desktop computer, so it'll only take me about 1 minute and 30 seconds. This, in the past, when I've worked on lesser computers, has taken upwards of almost an hour. So fingers crossed you're not on that end. It shouldn't be that extreme, especially for a clip coming off of an iPad or an iPhone. So I'm going to cut the video right now so you don't have to wait for 1 minute and 30 seconds, and then I'll come back and explain what happened after that. Okay everybody, now that you've had a chance to export it and your computer's finally gotten through with that, you should be able to see the file in whatever folder that you put it to. So right now I've got my clip here, and it goes for the full 10 minutes. So in that whole section, we only have our 10-minute clip. So that's our kind of final product right there. One thing to note though, the quality on this video is actually pretty solid. We're looking at some high definition recording. This is not probably what PACT is going to need. It might be a little bit big in file size for what PACT will eventually require. Because of that, I'm going to probably make a second video later on to show us how to take that 10-minute clip, put it back into Premiere, and then re-export it at a lower quality, basically, to make it a smaller video so that way we'll be able to easily move it to PACT. So for now, though, this should have gotten you to your 10 minutes, and I hope that it was helpful. Please remember that you are always more than welcome to contact me and ask me for any help that you guys might need. Thank you so much. I'll see you in class.